This podcast is sponsored by Fial, your Jaguar and Land Rover dealer in the Algarve.
Book a test drive in the new Defender in the Fial showroom in Faro.
Welcome to the Portugal Diaries podcast. I'm Jen.
And I'm Claire, and on today's podcast we have Daniel Wylie, entrepreneur with a very big heart and an even bigger story. Welcome on the show.
Thanks for having me.
I think we're going to start today's podcast on the subject of Portugal. So I know you spend quite a lot of time here and have been coming here for a number of years. So what first brought you to Portugal?
So in 2021, my parents sold a holiday home in America and they were looking in the Algarve. So we thought we'd come over and help them. A month after we come out here, a really good friend of mine, Wes and Hannah, that I've known since I was a teenager, they actually moved out here. So we started spending a lot of time with them and just fell in love with the lifestyle out here, the people, the weather.
Yeah. There's definitely weather. Although, actually, having said that, we haven't had the greatest weather recently.
I think I've brought the good weather from England
Yeah,
over
I think
with me.
you have. And no one's ever said those words before.
So how would you say you spend most of your time when you're here? Do you play golf?
Family time,
Okay.
if I'm really honest.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think anyone that comes over to Portugal gets addicted to paddle.
Yeah.
We
love
got it
to
in
get
again.
paddle. I love that we got it in right at the start.
Honestly.
Yes.
Everyone, we've put the word paddling.
Yeah.
Played for the first
Even
time
when
a
people
couple of
don't
years
like
ago,
it.
and
Yeah.
it's just unbelievable.
Yeah,
And I was
isn't it good?
reading, actually, people that play racket sports can live 10 years longer.
I actually read that as well, so I'm all for it. Yeah. It's just brilliant. So
yeah,
where are you playing?
Campus.
Yes.
Okay.
So mainly family time, but I sneak the odd game of paddling.
Yeah.
And I find when I'm over here, I work on the businesses.
Yeah.
And then back home, I'm really working in them.
Okay.
And it's a different type of working.
Stepping back, thinking
Do
about
you feel like it
things.
frees your mind to be able to do that over here?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying to my wife the other day, the first time we go away anywhere, I get almost this crash. And I think at home I've got my routine where I wake up in the morning, I meditate for half hour, 40 minutes, I ice bath, sauna, I go to the gym for an hour.
I am loving
And then I'm
this.
in the office and it's like, everything's like bam, bam, bam. So
Yeah.
I think they're like dopamine hits throughout the day. And then I get away. And for the first day, it's like just finding myself again.
Yeah.
It's almost like a bit of a flatness.
Yeah. Reset.
I get that.
But then I just feel, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do think when you've got so much going, I mean, you're obviously so busy back in the UK. When you do then, and running your own business, when you do then get away somewhere on holiday, it's kind of like it takes the body and the mind. Like it's like an adjustment phase. You know, I just think the first couple of days are almost like a bit of a write-off until you kind of find your balance.
And at home, I wouldn't get to do an hour's worth of work and then go play with my boy
Yeah.
on the beach in the sand or sit in the garden.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So how do you find, sorry to interrupt you there, just going on to that where you just touched on doing the kind of waking up, meditating, this and the other. When you come over here, do you meditate when you get up or not?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you find that?
Probably why I'm not a little bit all over the gaff.
So does that calm your brain down?
Mind.
Very much so,
Yeah.
yeah. Exercise does as well.
Yeah.
Normally I get up and have a run
Yeah.
Okay.
every morning and go down to the beach.
When
and-
you're here,
I go in the sea. I've gone in the sea every morning
Nice.
since I've been here.
Gosh,
yeah.
that's not for the faint-hearted.
Nice,
Mind you, if you're doing ice baths at home, then you're all good for that because there's one big ice bath out there. Yeah. That's interesting, actually, that you don't. So what's the reason for not meditating when you come in here?
I want to be home when my boy wakes up.
Yeah.
Okay,
nice.
And at home I'm not. I'm out the door at 5
Okay.
o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
And so you touched on your son, but you have 2 other children, is
Yeah,
that correct?
yeah.
And one on the way?
Yes, one on the way as well.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Yes. I've got Amelia and Enzo back home and Aston's over here.
So hang on, they follow the name of cars then.
Oh, hi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enzo Ferrari and Aston Martin. Obviously.
Yeah, and Amelia's named after a racetrack.
Oh, really? Gosh, well,
Wow.
you give us a bit of a heads up that you're into cars. So I guess on the sort of Portugal theme, if there was somewhere that you had to drive to in Portugal, where would you go and what car would you be driving?
Oh, I don't know about destination, or I think it's got to be a 1960s E-Type or an Aston Martin DB5. Aston Martin
Nice.
DB5, actually.
Yeah.
Do you see the blank look in my face? I have no idea what you just said.
No, but do you know what? So my husband just bought a 1983 911. from Portugal. It was only one of 5 made in Portugal in 1983. So it's like this lovely little thing. You saw it the other week.
Yeah,
didn't you?
I saw you driving it.
Yeah,
I
know.
snapped you driving
He was
it.
away, so I was like that. Right, I'm driving that down to Valdolovo.
Anyone
and
giving
it's just
Simon
like
a heads up?
Yeah.
Claire's got his car.
Well, it was all over social media, so I guess that was. But yeah, there's something nice about the vintage cars that you think. Yeah.
And it's something you don't see every day.
No. But you do see great cars here, don't you think? I mean, you only have to drive into the campus, and then it's like, phenomenal.
So, what's your favourite car that you have personally at the moment?
1960s E-Type.
Okay.
Yeah, Jaguar E-Type.
Yeah.
I've had some pretty special cars over the years, but now my focus is growing my care business.
Okay.
And can't justify having a garage full of supercars
That's true.
that theoretically lose money.
Yeah.
No,
When I
that's
could be
it.
putting that into the business and changing people's lives.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that care business then.
So I'm a mental health nurse.
Yeah.
Qualified in 2007. Founded a company called Aldenat Care in 2008, and we specialise looking after people with adults with learning disabilities and complex needs. So they're in residential homes and supported living. So I grew that over 12 years, and I sold out in 2020.
Okay.
And I thought that I got fed up with the red tape, and I thought I just needed a break. I was going through a difficult breakup, and obviously with a breakup with kids involved as well. I just thought, no, let's sell up, let's get out. And it was about 8 months after I sold when I didn't feel right. And I went and saw a life coach that's a good friend of mine, and we spent about an hour and a half going over my North Star trajectory. And my sole purpose in life is to help people and look after people, and I wasn't doing that at the time.
Okay.
So then I got my fire back in my belly, and involved in another care company again called Calm Futures.
Okay.
So we've got services in Essex, Suffolk and Norfolk, looking after adults with learning disabilities, complex needs.
Okay.
So it's the same as pretty much
So
what
it's
I did
not
before.
care home for the elderly then?
No, I've got an elderly care home in my
Okay.
village that I bought in 2013, and it's a 14-bed boutique style elderly care home. My nan's lived there. My great aunt, my wife's nan, is currently residing in there, and it is the most beautiful homely home that you can find out there. And I think a lot of the modern care homes are these 50-bed luxury or 50 to 100-bed luxury hotel. If you actually ask your grandparent where would they like to live, they want to live in a home.
Yeah.
Like, the hotel doesn't feel like a home. It's great for, I reckon, a few weeks or a month.
A bit of respite care. Or
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah, it does feel, they are kind of, they're super luxe now, you know, it's kind of like craziness really. But so if you sold the first one, did you kind of struggle with yourself when you're selling it, that it was going to like, not the right home, but you know, somebody who is going to take as much care over
So
it
I
as you?
spent a year finding the right buyer.
Okay.
Yeah, so we approached them.
Okay.
So I had an advisor at the time called Martin, and we went around, looked at homes, looked at how people were cared for, looked what they were doing, and I'm still really pleased that I handed the baton over to them. They're a national company, but they're a national company that really cares, and they've done some great things. Like if I look at it, well, we had almost 300 staff, but I was the finance director, I was the managing director, I was head of maintenance. Do you know what I mean?
You're involved day to day.
Where now with my new company, I've got the right people in the right seat from day one, so we can grow at the right pace.
Did you find that hard, being able to kind of delegate those roles? You know, knowing that, you know, and it's your baby, and like you say, you had 300 staff for it, you're still doing all those roles. Did you, with the new one, did you find that hard to?
Funny enough, I didn't. No.
Do you think you learn though? You've done one business and you've kind of grown it from the ground up, and you've kind of worn all those hats. But second time around, you're much more aware and probably more business minded. That I can't be that person all the time, otherwise you're going to have no life outside of work.
And if you're doing 5 things badly, I might as well just do one thing.
Yeah,
It'll be great at it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Circling back on when you actually sold that business, though, because I think this is quite interesting that you sort of feel like you lost your way a little bit, because I read on Stephen Bartlett's book that when he sold his business, he was expecting it to be this big hurrah, this incredible feeling of, we've hit the jackpot, we've built this business, we've sold it for, a really significant sum, and he expected to feel really happy, and what he actually felt was absolutely nothing, and he was shocked to learn that his business partner felt exactly the same. And this sort of day that you plan for and you think it's really going to change your life in a positive way was the complete opposite almost, in fact. So would you say
100% left me
similar?
feeling empty?
Really?
And a lot of my friends and people that I've spoke to that have sold their businesses, it's the same. They've lost it. You lose your purpose.
Yeah.
And I think when
heard this a
people
lot.
get older, they need something to keep their, not even when they're younger.
Yeah.
Even when they're younger as well, they need something to keep their mind occupied.
gonna
So long as
say,
you've got
because-
something to fall straight into.
Yeah, you don't want to be, there's almost like a double-edged sword. People always say, I'd love to retire at, X age or whatever, and they pick a fairly young age in the working, age-wise. But like you say, suddenly you've no longer got a purpose. You're not, you've built this thing up and that's been your sole purpose, and then suddenly it's...
There's only so many holidays and rounds of golf you can play.
I do hear this a lot. Yeah.
So how did you feel at that point when you realised that empty feeling was real? It wasn't going away.
I think I was honestly depressed. I was drinking too much, and just
Yeah.
It's actually quite a common thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And did you
No, I don't
recognise
drink.
that yourself?
Really?
Yeah, no,
Good,
I know.
well
I was
done.
going to say
Yeah.
that you don't drink at all now,
until
do you?
3 years.
And
Yeah.
how,
Okay. And what was the lead up to that, where you just thought,
I went to America for a month with my wife, and I think where I'm about 400 mile an hour back home. The time difference and not being as busy, we'd have a couple of bottles of wine in the evening.
Yeah.
And I'd noticed that two days later, I just didn't feel right. My decision making was like poor, even when it comes to what shoes do I wear. I was thinking,
should be an easy decision. It should be a snap
and then
decision,
I recognised that was alcohol, and I was thinking, what happens on a Saturday night when we go and have a skinful?
yeah,
I can't be right till Thursday. And I've built this incredible business in the past by binge drinking at the weekends and stuff.
Getting away with it.
Yeah. And I think, well, actually, I don't think, I know everything in my life is a million times better without alcohol in it.
yeah,
And a few of my friends have been on the same journey and seen what they've achieved
yeah.
since not having that.
It's a real thing now. Like, I barely drink. It, like you say, it just doesn't serve me. I don't feel great if I do have it. I don't particularly like it, so I'm only doing it to kind of, whatever. And I just don't feel great. Like you say, I just feel like you're on catch up a couple of days later. So again, I just love the fact that I just feel healthy. But so many people are becoming, more on this, like you say, a journey.
Yeah.
And it's just so acceptable now. Whereas I feel like years ago, everyone's really would always try and encourage you to have a drink. Oh, go on. You've been boring, this, that, and the other.
Oh, they gave me a hard time
Did they?
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. But back home, I belonged to a few kind of like elite business groups.
Yeah.
And when I was drinking, I didn't realise it. But now I've stopped drinking. I look around the table,
They're not drinking.
and they're all on zeros. And
Yeah.
the older people that have been there since done it, a lot of them have had problems.
Yeah. There's a
Because I
reason
think that when you're running a business, you're looking for either a relaxation or your buzz from somewhere else,
Yeah.
and it's such a common thing.
Yeah.
I think when you're that type of person as well, you're searching for the high, you want to get the
buzz.
thrill and
Yeah. And the reason that it's successful in business because they're addicted to business. They've got addictive personalities.
Yeah, of course. No, I see this a lot, and I love it because I just feel like I love the whole health and wellness thing anyway. So I just, it just feeds into that. I'd
say we have both extremes here. I think we have a tranche of people who come here as on holiday, and then they decide to move here, but for the first few months at least it feels like they're on holiday every single day, and they fall into that trap of, I'm having a glass of wine with lunch, I'm having a couple of glasses of wine with dinner, and before you know it, months have passed and they've been drinking every single day, and it can become a problem. And then you see the other side of the coin where they've maybe realised the error of their ways and they're super healthy, and they kind of make that change, don't they? But I think it's a difficult thing to recognise in yourself that you need to make that change, and then to actually follow through is just incredible. So well done you for recognising that, and making it. I'm sure your family must benefit hugely
very
from
much
you
so,
being a better person, and just taking care of yourself. You're going to be a better husband, better daddy, and better in business as well. So yeah, great. There must be some other things you do though to enjoy yourself and unwind and.
Paddle.
I'm going to get back
Brilliant.
Paddle.
twice.
I love.
Yeah, let's talk about paddle then.
Spending time with my children. I
Yeah.
love spending time with my children at home. We're always out on the quad bikes and go karts and
Having fun.
yeah,
Get the adrenaline
Yeah.
kick from somewhere else. Yeah. And I know we're circling back on paddle, but who do you play with when you're here? Have you got a core group that you can just dive into?
Yeah, there's the men's paddle group at
Okay,
campus. Play
yeah.
on Tuesdays and Fridays and Sundays. And
Okay.
I sometimes play at Villamora. Paddle.
That's meant to be a good.
never played
I've never
there.
played there, but it's meant to be a very good
It's
setup.
a slightly older group.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first time I ever played in a proper paddle match.
Yeah.
It's over there.
A year and a half ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, It's
Really?
a lovely little group. Yeah.
Who's
Yeah,
your
yeah.
favourite partner over here? If you could pick anyone to play a tournament with, who would it be?
I would say Wes, but last time I played with Wes, we lost. So
I love playing with Wes. He really elevates my
Yeah,
game.
I'm
Don't tell him that.
going to go really controversial here and say Bobby.
I don't know, Bobby.
So Bobby, I met at Stansted Airport not even a year ago, and we're chatting away, and he is a couple of minutes away from where we stay here,
Okay.
and back home in Essex, he's a couple of minutes away there, and
really?
I'd say that we're like best mates now.
That's fantastic.
You met in an airport.
Yeah, met at the airport,
There
yeah.
you go. That was meant to be then.
Yeah.
So, and he spends time over here as well. Yeah. And so, going on to spending time over here, how often do you try and come?
So last year we came a minimum of 1 week every month.
Fantastic. Yeah. And does it feel like home when you're here?
Yeah, very
Yeah.
much so. Yeah,
Seems
I
you-
really like that because
Yeah.
I can balance between work, family.
Yeah.
I can go and spend time with my friends and
Yeah.
do a paddle and a
Yeah.
game of golf.
It is a real good feeling, isn't it? I think everyone who comes on says that, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there any one place in particular that you feel connected to? You know,
Campus. I live there.
same. It's so good.
It's so
isn't
good,
it?
yeah. And I love that you're hanging around like-minded people
Totally.
that are successful in their lives, in their business lives, in their personal. It's all
Yeah.
family orientated.
Yeah, the
It's
kids
just-
can be in the mix, running around. You're playing a game of paddle.
yeah.
It's
And
really
everybody's
good.
very open because I always think back in the UK, you've got such big wigs here who have got like these incredible businesses or had incredible businesses or they're famous or whatever, and they're all down at the campus or they're all, whatever. But everybody's so open. It's not like back in the UK where you just wouldn't have access to, not access, but you don't come across everything's a bit closed off and whatever. Whereas here, it's just everybody's just everybody. Don't you think?
If you pass someone in the UK, you're walking past them, you say good morning, and they look at you as if
Yeah.
you're some type of weirdo.
Yeah.
But I think it's probably, you touched on before, when you're in your sort of holiday mode, you have a bit more time to just be free. And I think that's the case here. If you say hi to someone there having a coffee, they want to chat. Where are you from? What do you do? Everyone's got
Yeah.
a bit more time
I
because
love
they're...
that question. What do you do?
And what do you say?
How do you answer it? Yeah.
No, I love finding out what people do.
Me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and their
That's why
journeys.
we've done this podcast.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would you answer the question though if someone asked you?
What do I do?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a mental health nurse. I own and run a group of care homes for adults with learning disabilities
Yeah.
and a few other things.
A few other hats as well.
Yeah.
So do you see Portugal? I know you come try and do a week a month. Do you see yourself moving out here?
I think we're in 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about your older kids? How would they feel? Would they...
I travel home a lot.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Just try and...
But it's so easy to do
and
that.
Maybe even
Yeah.
bring them over every single holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and are they far from you in the UK?
A half hour.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your little one is... What age is your...
Aston's 2.
Okay, so he's still not at school or anything. And how do you feel? Have you looked into nurseries and schools and things
My
here
wife
yet?
has been to every single
All over
one.
that, yeah. Good,
She's
good,
got
good.
it all planned.
Perfect.
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
I think in an ideal world it'd be between here and Dubai.
Okay.
So we'd spend some time in Dubai.
Yeah.
Some
A lot of people say that actually. There must be some similarities. I think safety is a huge thing actually in both. I think that's one of the biggest similarities. But people tend to mention Dubai in the same sentence as they mention here.
Wes and Hannah
which is
especially.
interesting.
They love it there too, don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, bit of
It's hard
Dubai
not to
bling.
love. But a few of my friends that have moved out there have created the most unbelievable lives, and what a great place to bring your children up. And it's very different to here, and I think having that mixture of the two.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, you've only got one life, haven't you? So you may as well make it your best one.
But I do think, people who move, and you and I are examples of this, you move here, you bring your family here. You're not saying it has to be forever. Most of us come with the intention of 1 year, and we'll see how it goes. If we like it, we'll stay longer. And, if after 2-3 years, Dubai is the next destination, then you do that to the max as well.
And I feel I've devoted probably 14, 15 years of my life to work and being so involved in work. And it's like, right now I need to put a lot of time and energy into work to create the life in 3 years' time that I can really give my family everything.
And so based on that, would you still work from here? I mean, would you do something like Calm Futures, is it?
Yeah, Calm Futures.
Calm Futures, would you do something like that over here?
I would still have the UK businesses and still be heavily involved.
So tell us about, because we've touched on Camp Futures, but day to day, what's your involvement there? What do you do?
So I've got a few different businesses. So I've got Calm Futures, I've mentioned earlier, and then I've got Autumn Care, which is the elderly care home.
Okay.
Then I've got a construction company. So my construction company builds out all my own care homes. So I'll find a closed down care home or a run down care home and I'll redevelop it. So we've just done one in Chelmsford, which is we bought a 22-bed closed down elderly care home, converted the left-hand side to a 6-bed specialist care home. Yeah. And then the right-hand side, we built 6 supported living flats. And we've remodelled it, so it's EPCA. So we've got infrared heating in the ceilings, solar on the roof. They're designed for individuals that are quite complex and can damage properties and stuff. So we've thought about it. So we've sunk the TVs into the walls with perspex over them, and just made it look as homely as possible.
But having those provisions in place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know from experience as well that when someone damages a property, they might have to move out for a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We've designed it in a way now that we can have it turned around in an hour.
Okay. And so and that's all ages?
18 upwards.
Onwards, okay. Yeah. And that's obviously families that can no longer have them at home?
Some of them have been in children's homes and coming through the system. Some of them have been in some long stay secure hospitals. Where there's just not been placements for them previously. So we integrate them back into the community. We teach them life skills. We learn how to manage their behaviours and teach them how to manage their behaviours as well. Okay. But majority of them will always have 24-hour one-to-one support for the rest of their life.
Wow.
But we can just give them more of a meaningful life. It's the most beautiful job that anyone can actually have. I was going to say,
there must be so much kind of, you must get so much out of that.
So because I wear 2 hats from the construction side and the caring side, and every single person that we move into services, they're like, is this mine?
It's life-changing,
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Because they've lived in awful...
Well, if someone's stuck in a secure unit in a hospital because that's the only place to house them, and they don't need nursing, they don't need physical care, but they just need a safe place to call home. Like, that's pretty
And
special.
I'm massively into teaching wellness, nutrition, mindfulness, all them great things. But I think it starts with the staff. So we're developing a program at the moment where we're really instilling that into the staff. Okay. So then they can project that onto the people we support.
I guess if these are in some cases kids that have grown up in the care system where maybe their immediate needs were being met in terms of they're fed, they've got a school uniform, they're being sent to school, but none of that, if they haven't had a parent to nurture them and to give them some of these life skills and extras, then some of the people will be hearing all of this for the first time, and it must be truly life-changing, not just in terms of the physical environment, but the emotional support, the other things that can help them. It's incredible.
It's heartbreaking as well. Sometimes when you hear people's stories,
really,
you get thicker skin as you spend more time in the sector, but you've still got that heart in there that actually.
And it makes you think, God, my life's good.
God, how lucky.
Is there one particular case or a person that you've helped where you feel this is why I do this job? Or
there's so many.
Really?
Every single person, we've improved their lives.
That's
and
incredible.
I love it. There's thousands of people that have been through the doors of the various care companies that are just truly remarkable. And we get the most unbelievable feedback from the little elderly care home from families. Literally, I read some feedback not last week before about a little lady that sadly passed away, and her daughter sent this most unbelievable letter And I couldn't help, I was sobbing my heart out.
Oh,
It
no.
was so beautiful, and it was like I'm very grateful for the amazing team that I have, because none of it would be possible without them.
Yeah, of course. Oh, that's amazing.
How do you find staff like that? Because, you can look at a piece of paper and on a CV it says they've got the relevant qualifications and they tick all the right boxes in terms of your minimum standards. But how do you find people, the type of people that you need to truly make a difference in your business?
Very, very hard.
Very,
very hard. As a country, we haven't got the skilled workforce or the workforce with that real nurture inside.
Yeah.
And, we can do as much training as we can. But
But it has to
that
be
motherly,
in the person.
that needs to be.
It's in you.
it
It's
needs
just
to be-
in you. It's not.
It needs to be in there. And there's a huge pool of overseas workforce at the moment that's being used widely in the sector, and they're great, but they have different. I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for.
Well, there can
I
often
guess
be
it's cultural differences.
Cultural differences. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
and often a language barrier too,
Yeah.
no doubt. If
Yeah.
it's not their first language, then that can be difficult. If someone's already got maybe communication issues, then there's that kind of
And
double.
we've got some great ones, really good guys that work for us. Really good guys. But
you want
as
that
a
kind
as a
nurturing.
sector, I think actually in any sector in the UK at the moment, there's a real struggle for skilled workforce.
Oh my goodness, that would be a whole different conversation. But listen, so you said about you're so massively into your health and wellness and meditation and everything. When did you get into that?
My mum is a personal trainer. She's in her mid-70s. She's still got abs.
Fab,
Yeah,
love
she's a
that.
machine.
Dean's still got abs. Some of us are still waiting.
I work really hard and I don't have
She's
abs.
a machine. So I've always been into my health and well-being and fitness. But I think in my late 20s, I started getting more into it. And it's probably more the last 4 years. Finding out I've got ADHD, which I've only just found out, but everyone else apparently, they
knew.
They knew. And knowing that I need to exercise every day, that sets me up for the day.
Yeah.
I take lion's mane. Really helps with with just keeping me on a level all day.
Because you can actually buy lion's mane mushrooms from Sainsbury's now.
Yeah.
I saw that today on someone's Instagram. They were cooking with it, and I thought, what a great way! Because then you could just put it in your meal. I'm so into all of this. I just I'm nuts with this. Clean Claire is like my nickname. But I just, the whole meditation. So how did you teach yourself? Did somebody teach you?
I went on a course called Fire Zoo Meditation.
Okay.
So it's a 12-week course. You go around a monk guru's house for 1 hour every week, and you get taught the whole process, and then you get given your mantra at the end. And I remember the first time he sat me on his sofa. He was like, close your eyes, and went through this thing. And then, I don't know how long it was, 15 minutes later, I was like, what the just happened?
Really?
Yeah, obviously, can you imagine what my mind's like?
I was going to say, being ADHD, how did you let yourself just because you got a million things going on?
Yeah. And now that I meditate, things happen, and I just imagine it as a fluffy cloud, and it pops, and then that thought goes, and I come back into my mantra. And it's
So
just,
are we allowed to ask what your mantra is? No?
Oh, you're not allowed to share that?
no, you're not allowed to share it.
Oh, okay.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So mantra is like some word that you say. I don't even know
It's
how
like
to
a
explain
personal,
it.
Yeah.
And so you start off the day with your meditation.
Yeah, so it's not guided or anything. I'm just there on my own, sit on the floor or the sofa, cross-legged.
Yeah. And then you, so then you said you go in your sauna and...
Ice bath.
Okay, but you don't ice bath every day, do you? But apparently it's not good for you to every day. That's the
feel
new
great.
thing, does it? I tried to do it with my swimming pool here. Last winter, it was New Year's Day, or maybe the day after. I was like, right, I'm doing the Wim Hof method. Going in the pool, well, I couldn't even breathe, and then I was really poorly for the rest of the day. Because it was, I tried to stay in too long, and it was just a bit, because I love an ice bath. The sea's too cold here. I'm a bit like, oh no, I can't get in. But if you give me an ice bath, I can mentally get in it. I don't know why. And I love it because the way you feel afterwards, it's like your whole body is just like...
Sets me up for the day.
Yeah, it's insane. So
I think with social media and stuff, there's so much positive and negative stuff about everything out there. It's like it's hard to know what really to...
Do you follow
one to
anybody?
follow, yeah.
Do you follow anybody in particular?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, okay. Because usually like the same names
My
come up.
my wife was a researcher, so she'll go and research something to death.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, like, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
at home, we've got a hydrogen water tap. We've got reverse osmosis, a whole house water filter. So
Wow.
That is
we're
fantastic.
showering in pure water.
That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Take the mineral salts. So
Yes,
put,
yeah.
Put,
Do you take the Celtic one?
a Celtic, yeah. So
you
before I have a glass of water, put a bit on your tongue.
Because I ran out of electrolytes, so I was in a panic. So I was adding the salt to my water and then some lemon to try and create my electrolytes to play paddle and not die on court. So trying to do my electrolytes arrived today, so that's all good. Yeah.
So of all of the things you've just talked about there, so you've got your meditation, your health and well-being, you've got your supplements and everything else. Is there any one of those that you think, or anything else we've not touched on, that you think has been like the biggest game changer for you in terms of how you feel every day?
I think it's the meditation.
Really?
Yeah, meditation and weightlifting every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get into meditation. I don't know.
The thing about meditation is I'd love to get into it, but I have that where I think I just can't calm my mind enough. Do you know what I mean?
That's all the
I
more
do
reason
think
to do it,
it's
I
a-
guess,
Such
isn't
word
it?
as
Yeah.
can't.
I know, I agree. I remember, I think that was on my school report when I was younger, saying there's no such word as can't. It's I'll try, but I'd love to. I remember, for me, again, it was a mental health thing for one of my kids, and it was a particularly difficult time. And I remember a friend of mine invited me to her spa for the day. And she was like, we'll do yoga first. And so I was like, yeah, brilliant. And so I went and we started off in this yoga. And I remember just thinking to myself, I can't do this. I can't calm my mind enough. But I forced myself to stay. And within maybe 10 minutes, I then got into it and I could calm my mind. So you're right, you can, but it's about almost letting yourself sit into it and try to get around it.
I had 3 years out of not meditating at all.
Why
Really?
was that?
I think it was it can't be 3 years, it must be 2 years when the son was born.
Okay, life was crazy. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's a
We've
lot.
been there.
I'd rather just have
Yeah.
half-hour kip
Yeah.
than meditate. But it's funny, it's something that's so good for you.
Yes.
And I feel so good that I could just drop it.
So you just feel like after that, you know what you need to do for the
Oh,
day.
it's just clear.
Clears everything.
Yeah.
And sauna-wise, are you a traditional sauna or an infrared?
Traditional.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
And so what's the reason for not doing the infrared?
Because I had a traditional one for 5 years. Yeah.
He's installed
Oh, I
it.
thought you were going to tell me like that was like some...
No, No, I think the health benefits are better from infrared.
Yeah.
I've seen houses here with both, like traditional
Yeah.
and the new one.
Kate has an infrared one that because she lives over the road, I go and sit in that with her
My
a couple
wife
of
would kill
times a
me
week.
if I had an infrared one and a nice bath, then
That is it, yeah.
God knows whatever
When you
else.
build your dream pad in Portugal, you can install
Yeah,
one
there
of
you
each.
go.
Exactly.
That could be what you actually, and then she wouldn't know because she'd be like that. Oh my goodness, look what happened. 2 saunas. Okay, I'm just going on because I know that we are running out of time. We always have quick fire questions on these. So yeah, you start with the quick fire questions.
Oh, well, it's one we ask a lot of people, but we may as well jump in and ask you the same one. So a piece of advice you would give anyone thinking of either relocating here or starting to spend a significant amount of time in Portugal? What would you...
What would I say? Do
Yeah.
it. Yeah. I think come and spend 6 months out here and find out what living here is like, not just being on holiday, because holidays are so different.
Yeah, they are. But you do get a feeling, don't you think? Portugal just gives you a feeling.
Yeah.
I think that seems to be the result. And what does a calm, fulfilling future look like for you?
Living in between here, England and Dubai, 4 beautiful kids, a meaningful business that does good, gives back, that maybe I can hand down to my children and they have the same wishes to make a difference in these people's lives.
No, I think it's fantastic what you're doing. I think it's, brilliant because you always hear, like I know it's on the media and stuff, like for care homes especially, that there's not great stuff going on. So it's, it's so refreshing to hear you talk about, how much you actually care about creating that it's really inspiring.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's really tough, and the newspapers never want to print anything that's going well.
No, for sure. I know. Well, never. I don't even look at newspapers now, and I certainly don't look at the news. But anyway, right. And I'm going to do a fun one now. What's the last movie that made you cry?
Oh God, Notebook. The Notebook.
Oh yes,
God, yeah.
incredible.
I know.
Yeah, I've not watched that in
You can't not
years.
cry at the Notebook.
Yeah.
I think that was actually a sob. It was that. Yeah, that moving. Yeah.
It is. It's got a great story, that one. Go on, you do the fun
Well, I
one.
just feel like it's almost lunchtime and I'm starving. I just want to talk about food.
I love food.
So I'm going to go with one we've used before, but why not do it again? Go-to comfort food?
Comfort food. I have to have an acai bowl every day.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So do you go to Lahana?
I go to Blue or Noah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I get my matcha from Lahana.
There you go.
Oat milk matcha
My
latte.
daughter works there. So,
does she?
Yeah. Well, she's working at Easter, so you'll see her in there. Yeah.
So Blue and Pure are your two
Yeah,
go-tos.
and-
Sorry,
and-
not
Oh, Pure as well. and
Cafe
that-
Noah. Cafe Noah is the
yeah,
other.
yeah.
Sorry, the second one you mentioned. Yeah, all good spots. All
Yeah,
very
no,
good,
really
yeah.
good. Oh, I've really enjoyed having you on. I could talk forever on this type of stuff. So it's been really interesting to hear. And it's just so nice and refreshing to hear you doing such an amazing job.
Yeah, we're
Thank you very
excited for you to move here and
Yeah.
jump in fully. At
See you
some
on a
point in the
paddle
future.
court.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming on the Portugal Diaries podcast.
Yes. If you are watching Portugal Diaries podcast, you can find us on Spotify and Apple and loads of other places, actually on YouTube as well. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review. And you can find us on our socials at the Portugal Diaries podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.